Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we're going to be doing some shorter-term technical analysis on Bitcoin because in yesterday's video, we predicted that the TD sequential was calling for a correction and a downtrend starting on Bitcoin. We have been trending to the upside for nearly a month. The last time we saw a 9, it did result in a 3-day downtrend. I think it would make sense if Bitcoin did temporarily reject here around $7,400. As you can see, we perfectly called this movement yesterday, and it absolutely had totally to do with me being an amazing technical analyst, and I am perfect at making predictions. I am never wrong. It's totally not because the TD sequential is actually a very powerful indicator. You're more than welcome to give me all of the praise for that, though. If you didn't catch the sarcasm, I don't think you're going to. Anyway, guys, it just so happens we were right. Yesterday, Bitcoin did reject around $7,400, and currently we're trading at $6,900. So in today's video, we're going to be discussing whether or not this is the beginning of a new downtrend for Bitcoin, because there are technicals pointing to that conclusion. And we're also going to be discussing the stock market, because as it looks like Bitcoin's about to go into a downtrend, stocks are actually performing pretty well. Guys, we are going to be discussing all of that and more in today's video, so if you do enjoy today's video, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button. And without much further ado, let's go ahead and dive right on into it. Pura vida. I love novelty coffee mugs. Anyway, guys, let's go ahead and jump on over to the chart. If you saw the greatest video ever uploaded to YouTube, that being yesterday's technical analysis fit, seriously, if you're not getting the sarcasm by now, you're not going to. Anyway, I keep forgetting that what's funny to me isn't necessarily funny to everyone. I'm just really good at amusing myself. If you saw yesterday's video, we were talking about the TD sequential and how the history of 9 calls on this technical indicator tend to be very, very accurate for Bitcoin. And some of you guys were throwing shade at the TD sequential saying, oh, wow, it's going to reject at 9. There's a 1 in 9 chance that's going to happen. I'm looking at you, Mr. Commenter. But it's pretty funny because it did actually happen. Bitcoin had a 9 call on the TD sequential right here. And from there, we did have one red candlestick and now another one. And we pulled back down to our previous level of resistance around $6,900. The thing that had really concerned me over the last few days, not even having anything to do with the TD sequential, were the consecutive lower highs that we were setting here on the hourly chart for Bitcoin. As you can see, we had highs over here at $7,412, all the way down to $7,325. There was a very clear downtrend of resistance. I can speak. And guys, when your resistance is trending to the downside, that is typically not a very bullish sign. And in fact, it did come to pass around 1900 hours Eastern Standard Time. Yesterday, Bitcoin started a correction from $7,325 to where we currently sit on our level of support right here. I will be very, very blunt with you. I don't think this support level is going to hold, but we will see. This is the same level, $6,900, that Bitcoin had been testing as resistance all throughout this period. We did finally get above it, and guess what? We only stayed above it for a few days. Bitcoin did not have a very strong rally above it, and we are now coming back down to test it. In the Cryptocurrency Technical Analysis Academy, we talk about the strength of breakouts and how they are a great way of telling whether or not a pattern is going to continue. In this case, a trend is going to continue. In this case, an uptrend continuing. Bitcoin broke bullish out of that ascending triangle pattern, and we only broke a few percentage points to the upside and traded sideways from there and then corrected to the downside. This looks like a classic pattern that I see happen all over cryptocurrency charts, one of which I'm very familiar with on the Ethereum charts. Let me go ahead and show you that. I've used this example on Ethereum many, many times, but I think this is a great time to use it as well. Back in April of 2018, a little over 2 years ago, Bitcoin was starting a rally, and we rallied. I said Bitcoin. Ethereum was starting a rally, and we rallied up into a consolidation pattern in the $600 to $700 range. From there, Ethereum did break bullish. I almost said Bitcoin again. Ethereum did break bullish, but it was not to last. In fact, we only were bullish for 3 days here, and considering the uptrend that moved into this pattern was between 60 and 90%, depending on how you measure it, you would have expected a similar size movement to the upside on the other side. We only rallied 20%. From there, we would enter a downtrend that would consume Ethereum for the rest of the year and ultimately result in a 90% pullback. What we saw happen to Ethereum was that the bulls thought they were in control. The bulls thought that they had just gotten a breakout and that they were going to continue going and rallying to the upside. But unfortunately, they were disappointed when they realized, wait a second, the bears are actually quite a bit stronger than we had given them credit for. And so the bears took control of the market for another 200 days. You have to be careful with breakouts. Like I said, this is something we talk about in our consolidation pattern video over in CT2A. Whenever you break out, It doesn't mean that the trend and the direction that you broke out on is going to last. It doesn't mean that at all, actually. It's very possible that you break out, you move a few percentage points, and then you actually start going the other way in what you might define as the actual breakout. Because looking at this market through a different lens, if we take off this level of resistance and this level of support right here, what did we see? This was a left shoulder, that was a head, and that was a right shoulder. That was not really just a consolidation pattern, my friends. That was a shoulder for a head and shoulders pattern. So it's very dangerous for us to think that just because Bitcoin broke to the upside over on our current chart means that it's going to continue that uptrend, especially considering the economic climate that we are currently in. And by the way, I didn't forget what I said 3 or 4 days ago about how all the technicals are pointing to a rally. Are we going to go into a rally? I didn't forget that, but if you'll remember what I said in those videos, I said Bitcoin is probably going to top out around $7,400, and we might go all the way up to $7,800, but I don't see us going any higher than that. It's literally what happened, so don't at me in the comment section because I know at least one of you is going to. Bitcoin rejected off of this 1,000 daily simple moving average that one of our commenters pointed out, and unfortunately, probably due to world events, seems to be entering a new downtrend. We are seeing convergence on the MACD like we haven't seen in quite some time. In fact, it looks like we may have a bearish cross on the MACD in the next 3 days, depending on how things go. And if we were to look at the RSI, we can see that it has started a downtrend, and we're now back below the 50 level. Furthermore, we've rejected off of a VPVR spike sitting between $7,100 and $7,400, and shorts are starting to rally while longs are starting to crash again. So where does this leave Bitcoin? Guys, Bitcoin has been riding a wave of investor confidence built off of the back of the idea of Bitcoin being a hedge against traditional markets. And I do think that that's going to be the case. And I do think that this rally that we've had for the majority of the month of March and the beginning of April has been a very good thing. And it will go down in history to prove that Bitcoin does not necessarily have to fall through the floor and crash and die whenever the global economy takes a crap. But at the same time, as the economy tightens and as people get into worse financial situations than they were even just a couple of weeks ago, as unemployment in America hits 17 million claims in 3 weeks, way beyond anything this country has ever seen in its entire history by an order of magnitude, it is going to become increasingly difficult for people to find the money to invest in Bitcoin and for people to continue holding those investments and not pulling that money out so they can feed their families. There's a food drive going on in the parking lot of the mall down the street from me, guys. This is getting bad. And you have to understand the effects that that's going to have on the market. The Federal Reserve and many other institutions in America try to keep the economy and thereby the stock market pumped up because it makes people feel rich and it makes them feel happy and it makes people continue voting them into power. We don't have that foundation in Bitcoin, which is a double-edged sword. It means it's going to be more difficult for Bitcoin to rally in the same way that the stock market does, but it also means that if Bitcoin is to succeed, we are going to have to build a much stronger foundation than we have ever seen in traditional markets because we don't have the backing of the good name of the United States federal government. This is a test, and Bitcoin, I think, is going to pass it with flying colors, but that doesn't mean that it's going to happen in the next couple of days. Bitcoin, guys, it's here to stay. It's not going anywhere. But that doesn't mean that 2020 is necessarily going to be our year. It might be. I've seen a lot of people arguing there's going to be a huge Bitcoin bull run when this all ends. And frankly, you might be right. I'm mainly talking about the first half of the year, but I don't want you guys getting your hopes up and then crushed because you thought that Bitcoin was going to go to the moon just because the global economy was pulling back. It doesn't really work that way. I'll tell you what people are looking up on Google right now. It's not the keyword Bitcoin. It's the keyword health insurance. You know, it's those kind of keywords. If we ever had a drought of interest in Bitcoin, right now, it's a good example of a time like that. After this is all over and we start seeing the economic ramifications of this and we start seeing the ridiculous fallout that this is going to have on the national and geopolitical stage, then we might see more interest come into Bitcoin. But for right now, that is not the case. Right now, we have to get through all of this, and right now, we have to make sure that we are safe and sound and secure of mind so that we can make the most of it when it has all come to an end. Guys, I don't want you getting scared, but I also don't want you getting overhyped on Bitcoin because right now, I think we are about to start a new downtrend. We're going to see if Bitcoin can hold these levels of support that I just talked about. Bitcoin's down $50 during the recording of this video. I don't think that Bitcoin's going to go back down to $4,000, guys. I really don't, but, you know, that it might do it. And if it does, I'll be ready to buy a lot of it because I've seen the way that Bitcoin has performed in times like these now. This will be a good thing for the history books for Bitcoin. But for right now, don't get burned. Make sure you're doing your own technical analysis. Make sure you're using this time as a time to rest and relax. Some of you guys may have been working and going hard for decades and never had a couple of months just to chill. Take a summer vacation. That's kind of what I'm doing. But make sure that when you come out the other side of this, you're better and stronger and more capable and more appreciative for the amazing world that we live in than you ever have been. This is a great learning opportunity because strong people are not born from easy times, quite the opposite. I'm really looking forward to what we're going to be able to accomplish this year, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the world come together in a way that I've never seen in my entire lifetime except for September 11th, when all of this comes to its ultimate conclusion. So I really do want to thank you guys from the bottom of my heart for watching this video. I do really appreciate you continuing to watch the channel and staying tuned and buying the course and supporting the business that we have here. It really does mean a lot. I'm very blessed to have the financial security that I do during all of this, and I know some of you guys don't. So what I want to encourage you guys to do, I want to encourage all of you to join the Crypto Jeb Discord server down below. And if you guys need any help, talk to the community. Maybe we can all come together and help you guys if you need anything. I want everyone banding together in a time like this, not ripping each other's throats apart, because given poor leadership, that's what humans tend to do. Anyway, guys, before I go, I do first want to thank each and every single last one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.
Oh, I got a real good feeling.